What's the quote, and I hope I don't mess this up, but it's better to ask for permission, was it?
No, it's better to beg forgiveness,
Beg for forgiveness.
than ask permission.
Yeah.
Yes. We got kicked out of the Pentagon once.
Yeah? We were escorted, though. I mean, we had somebody with us.
Yes. It wasn't our fault. It wasn't our fault.
Yeah, it wasn't like we were just walking around the Pentagon. I mean,
we still got kicked out.
We still got in trouble.
4,000 pieces of southern Indiana limestone have been used to rebuild the Pentagon, a job that was finished under budget and ahead of schedule.
We were at the Pentagon doing a story about the one-year anniversary of 9/11.
This is the last piece of limestone. It was put in here by the Deputy Secretary of Defense, Paul Wolfowitz, on June 11th, and it's one of the original stones. You can see it's charred.
We wanted to interview somebody from Indiana who had been there on 9/11, and we wanted to do the interview in front of the new limestone wall that was being built with Indiana limestone.
Right.
Kevin Kellums is also from southern Indiana. He now works in the Pentagon. He was at his desk when the plane hit.
Once I walked out of the building and looked up, it was so obvious and startling, a huge cloud of black smoke rising from the Pentagon.
And it was a construction area, and it was secured, and you had to enter from the parking lot.
Kellums had just gotten off the phone with his wife, Margaret Kellums, also from southern Indiana. She's now the deputy mayor of Washington, D.C., in charge of emergency response.
For me, because I knew she knew right off because of her job, I knew there was a real sense of urgency to get a hold of her.
Phones didn't work, so Kellums started walking. Halfway across the Memorial Bridge, he was told to turn around because of a suspicious package. Meantime, Margaret Kellums had her hands full.
It was a little disturbing. My husband was in the Pentagon, but
a little disturbing?
It was actually not as disturbing as people would think. I think because the magnitude of what was happening in the world, it really wasn't. I don't think anyone was able to sort of focus on their personal issues.
Eventually, was able to get to her and tell her I was okay, and asked for if she could give me help getting back to the Pentagon. So she found someone who could give me a ride back.
And the person we were with was a high Pentagon official who was able to access from inside the building. And so we accessed the area from inside the building. We set up immediately. We did the interview. And while we were doing the interview, a person with an automatic weapon came over and waited until we were done with the interview and then said, "You have to leave." And our interview subject said, "But you don't know who I am." And he said, "Oh yeah, you're the guy who's leaving." And so we were all escorted to the parking lot.
That's true.
Before the day was out, Kellums returned here to the Pentagon and returned to work. Amongst other things, he helped to arrange a press briefing that took place at this gas station overlooking the building. In the time since, the Pentagon reconstruction has included this piece of Indiana limestone bearing a presidential quote, identical to one that will be placed at the Indiana State House. A memorial includes tributes to the dead, among them General Timothy Maude, an Indianapolis native. And Kevin Kellums says that he has a greater sense of purpose in what was already a meaningful job. Jim Shella, Wish TV, News 8.